From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. By Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles in Rockville Center, Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia. Since 1996, they're also available for charity auctions. Give Warren a call at 516-826-4000. Mention Sports Bash and get a free autographed photo. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. Hi again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Sports Bash. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to the Govs Comedy Club podcast, YouTube and Facebook pages. Also follow Sports Bash Media on all the usual suspects, X, Instagram, Facebook, and of course on TikTok that I am not part of whatsoever, and that's an old story. We don't need to beat that to death about me and TikTok. Coming up on the show at 1:20, I'll be joined by Charles Davis from the NFL on CBS and NFL Network, and also I talk to him about this every time I have him on, whether it's been here on Sports Bash, the old Sports Bash show, on my podcasts, and I love to talk, and we'll talk about this again. But not only did I meet Charles years ago when we were working in the Arena Football League, but also Charles is one of the voices of the Madden game. And every time I have him on, my kids get excited because they say, hey, talk to him about Madden, see if you can get some cheat codes, you see if you can get some extra points and everything like that. And he always has a good time with that when we talk about it. So, and I remember he joked one time we had him on, and I said to him, you must really get a lot of people who may not necessarily know you from television, but if their kids play Madden, people know who you are. And he said, yeah, it gives them a lot of street cred, the Madden game. So we'll talk to Charles, or as he's affectionately known, CD. We'll talk to him about the Super Bowl. We'll talk to him about the Jets and the Giants, the NFL draft, and there's not too many people who are better at breaking down the NFL draft than Charles Davis is. So we'll touch on that when we join him. He joins us at 1:20. 1:40, we're going to head live to New Orleans. Vinny Tickets, the CEO of TicketBash.com, is on location in New Orleans at Super Bowl 59. He's going to set the scene for us, what it looks like there in New Orleans. Are the fans starting to come in? The ticket prices, where they are right now, and we'll get some information on ticket packages if you still have an interest in going to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Vinny Tickets will have all that information coming up at 1:40. We're also going to have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and with that comes the Living Legends item of the week, and we just got it right before the show. Warren Heller from Living Legends beat the clock and got us the picture. You're going to love it. It is an absolute knockout. This week's, you like that, right?
I do.
It's an absolute knockout. We'll have that Living Legends item of the week for you a little bit later on in the program. This segment is presented by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. We are in discussions with the Embassy Diner about making sure they bring some food over on Tuesday for the next edition of FOP. A week from today is the next edition of FOP. We'll tell you about it a little bit later on in the program. I talked about it last week, and I think a lot of the country feels the same way that I do. Like, again, not to beat a dead horse, but this Super Bowl matchup just doesn't really do it for me. I kind of joke, I'm not going to watch it. I'm only going to make sure I eat the food. Or focus on the commercials, or just being around family is going to be nice. Well, ultimately, it comes down to watching the game, and obviously, you're in this business or you're a sports fan, well, you're going to watch the game. Whether you bitch and moan and cry about, I didn't want the Eagles in the game, I don't want the Chiefs in it again, it's boring. I mean, we needed two different teams. It would have been great. Buffalo, had they made the Super Bowl, they could have been America's team. Washington had a lot of interest because of Jayden Daniels, but we are stuck on Sunday with the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'll save the breaking down of it a little bit more when Charles Davis joins us at 1:20. But what is the lesser of the two evils for the average football fan around the country? What is the lesser of two evils? Do you root for the Chiefs? Do you root for the Eagles? Or as some people would like to root for, a power outage? And you don't have to watch the game. Speaking of power outage, the last time the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, so that was 2012, if I remember correctly. It was the Ravens and the Niners, and I was at the Super Bowl covering it for WFAN. And that was the game, if you don't remember, in the second half, right after Beyonce did the halftime show. I'm sitting there at halftime, just after Beyonce is done. And for whatever reason, the cell phone service in the Superdome was god-awful that day. And I've got my family back home watching the game on television, a house full of people, and I'm sitting there in the upper deck of the Superdome in the auxiliary press area, trying to call home the whole time I'm there. And I'm at the game probably 3 hours before kickoff because you got to go through security and you got to go through all the BS and everything like that. And then I'm up in my seat and I'm dialing sorry, call cannot be completed as dialed. Try again. Over and over and over and over and over again. Finally, after the Beyonce is done, they clean up the stage. The third quarter starts. And I finally am able to get a cell out to home, and the phone, and my wife answers the phone. And then I'm talking to her on the phone, and while I'm talking to my wife on the phone, the lights go out in the Superdome. Tony, do you remember that in that Super Bowl? That, yes. Right? Yep. So the lights go out. Now, if you're watching the game on television, it's a delay. It's not real time when you're watching it on TV. And I say to my wife, I'm like, the lights just went out in here. She goes, get out of here, Cheryl said. Yeah, I'm like, no, the lights just went out of here. You're going to see it any second. And sure enough, 7 seconds later, Cheryl goes, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, just the lights went out and they just stopped the game. And it wound up being a pretty lengthy delay before the game started. But I hope that at this point that city of New Orleans, and I know they've been through a lot, and it's certainly not the first thing on their mind with things that have happened in New Orleans recently. Hopefully people will be able to get a sellout a little bit better. And hopefully Vinny Tickets will be able to access the Zoom link that we gave him. I don't know where he'll be. He's been all over the place. So we're going to see some videos when he's on. We're going to see some videos of him all over the French Quarter and things like that. But we'll save those videos for later. So we'll talk to Vinny Tickets about that. But yeah, so that was... When I say people might be hoping for a power outage, I mean, that was a good game. That 49ers-Ravens game back then was a good game. But you just don't hear buzz about this game. I mean, the only buzz that we're hearing is Travis Kelce going to propose to Taylor Swift after the game? You're laughing, right? I mean, that's what people are talking about, right? Like, all right, so if the Chiefs win, it'd be NFL history because nobody's ever won 3 in a row. That would be interesting. I don't think people will like it unless you're in Kansas City. And, of course, if that happens again, that means third year in a row, I've got to text my buddy Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, and wish him congratulations. I wanted to text him congratulations of being the head coach of the Jets, but he didn't get the job. Aaron Glenn got it, which is still okay. And if Philadelphia wins... Like, how does a New Yorker feel any sense of satisfaction? If you're a Giant fan, you're pissed off because it's a division opponent and Saquon Barkley gets a Super Bowl ring. So you can't get excited about that. And just the whole New York-Philadelphia thing, you can't be happy when a Philadelphia team wins a championship. I don't care what sport it is. If the Entertainment Football Association had a team in Philadelphia, I'd want to kick their ass every time we're on the field with them. But we don't have a team in Philadelphia just yet. Just yet. Working on it, I would think. The league people are. But so what do you do? What do you do? I guess as a general, avid, quiet, whatever category of football fan you are, I guess you just want a good game. A good game that comes down the wire. And dare I say overtime, and we've seen a couple overtime games not in the last decade or so that we had never seen before. There had never been an overtime game, and now we've had two. So I just think you generally want to see an exciting game. You don't want to see, a boring game, nobody's scoring, and it's, I don't think anybody wants to see that. I don't think anybody wants to see a blowout, and I don't think, obviously, Fox doesn't want to see a blowout because they don't want people clicking off their television sets at halftime. By the way, Kendrick Lamar is doing halftime?
Yes.
Tony, any interest in the Kendrick Lamar halftime show?
No.
No. And this is nothing against Kendrick Lamar, but again, what's been going on with these halftime shows in recent years? Like, the whole point of, I think, these halftime shows, and again, nothing against Kendrick Lamar, just not the music I listen to. But what happened to, the type of act that would attract all genres of people? And again, I know that a Billy Joel is not everybody's cup of tea. I know Bruce Springsteen. By the way, when Bruce Springsteen did the halftime show, that was a phenomenal halftime show. Yep. You know which one I liked that I saw in person too? Why can't I think of their name? With Fergie.
Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas, yes. That was the Dallas one. I enjoyed that one. That one was good. But can we have a halftime show that I think all of the world would care to see?
No, I agree.
I mean, hey, one of the Kansas City Chiefs is dating some big time musician. Maybe we could have gotten her. Maybe. I mean, I couldn't believe when the Super Bowl was here in New York that we couldn't get a local. Shouldn't it be also to where the game is? Like, the game was here in New York, New Jersey. Like, why wasn't it Billy Joel? Why wasn't it Bruce Springsteen? Why wasn't it, Pat Benatar?
Sure.
Why couldn't Barbara Streisand? I know I'm throwing a bunch of different things out there, but I think it should also be from where the game is. This halftime, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go eat. Maybe me and the boys will have a quick game of Madden at halftime. And I'll tell you, I can give you a spoiler. This is not a prediction. This is a spoiler. I'll lose. Doesn't matter who I play, Bradley or Jared. Cheryl doesn't play Madden. I think I could play my wife in Pong. I think that would be a good matchup if we played each other in Pong or Space Invaders. Our cup of tea.
That's a halftime show I would watch.
You would watch me and my wife playing Pong?
Better than Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of the country would want to see like the championship of Madden at halftime instead of Kendrick Lamar. But yeah, so again, back to my original point. I can't deal with this game. Like, I have to watch the game because I am doing updates on WFAN and Infinity Sports Network from home that night while the game is going on. So I kind of have to watch it. But I just don't care. I really don't. I want a good game. I guess that's the only thing I want. I think that's what everyone just wants. An interesting, exciting game. Not have a blowout. At least make it interesting to watch, no matter who wins, and no matter who you're rooting for, who you're betting on. I just think we've had Chiefs fatigue. And unless you live in Philadelphia, I don't think anybody likes the teams in Philadelphia.
Agreed.
I mean, this is probably one of the worst matchups we could probably have asked for, at least from a New York standpoint. I could give a rat's ass about the game. I'll tell you what I do care about, and that is Charles Davis. And when we come back on Sports Bash, we're going to talk to CD from the NFL on CBS and NFL Network. Charles Davis will join us right after this. We're coming back. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved. In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be joined in a few moments by Charles Davis from the NFL on CBS and also NFL Network. In the meantime, we'll hit the phones at 516-465-3990, and we always love to welcome in our good friend Rob from Lake Success. Rob, hello there.
You know, Peter, I'm doing great, thank you. I cannot believe, I'm like freaking in awe. You are a general manager on a ground floor football team. I understand it's, it's an indoor league. It's not putting it down by any means.
Yeah.
And there's a million sports out there, but the general manager.
Yes.
I mean, it's like you got to be pinching yourself. I mean, Neil Best, I know Neil because for years. I mean, I used to read his articles, and I've actually met him numerous times. And I think he wrote an article about me years ago. But the point being, this is a sensational story. Now, I want to ask you a question about this league.
Really quick, because we have to get to Charles Davis. He just zoomed in, so really quick.
My question is, where are you going to get these kids from? Are they going to be post-college, or what kind of level? Because I know some athletes, and your son in the future, he's a little young now.
Yeah.
But if this thing exists, I mean, where are you going to get these kids?
Well, and I appreciate it, and Rob, thank you very much for the phone call. It's going to be professional players after college, and we're going to hire a local Long Island high school football coach, and the intent is to have as many local Long Island, former Long Island high school and college players on the team to create community interest and to form like Long Island's professional football team. And that's the vision that we hope to have with this team. So we're going to have the logo and the name reveal on February 21st. Then we'll announce a coach, and then we're going to start putting a roster together.
Pete, I tell you, this to me, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting things. I mean, on a personal level, for someone like yourself who's really busted your butt, you got something here that if this thing takes off and, could be around for many years,
Yep.
You're at the ground floor. I mean, this is great stuff. Listen, have a great show, and we'll talk on Thursday.
Thank you, Rob.
You got it, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye now.
On the subject of arena football, that is how I met my first guest here on the show many, many, many years ago at the Nassau Coliseum watching a New York Dragons game. We both looked on as the Dragons put up 99 points in a game against the Carolina Cobras. And I'm so proud of where he has come from, a former star at Tennessee, started his broadcasting career in arena football, has worked up, and now you see him working with Iron Eagle on the NFL on CBS. You also see his work on the NFL Network. It's great to welcome in my good friend, CD, Charles Davis. Charles, it's Peter. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Peter. Not as well as you.
No, that's not true.
My initial congratulations. I'm so excited for you, excited for that league, and excited for Long Island. This is fantastic all the way around. General manager.
Yeah.
And, I think it's an inspired choice by them, and I'm thrilled that you're the one that's doing it because you're going to bring some real vitality to that position, and I think people are going to be thrilled.
Well, I appreciate that. Actually, I really only have to make one football decision, and that is hiring a head coach, because the head coach is also going to be the director of football operations, and he'll pick the roster. I'm going to stay out of the way and focus on corporate partnerships and marketing and PR and ticket sales and all that stuff. But it's an unbelievably exciting time for me and my family. And I tell everybody that would listen to me, and I know you feel the same way, our time in the Arena Football League was so special, and I look back on it, and to me, it wasn't even just calling the games, and I loved calling the Dragons games for 8 years, but to me, it was about the relationships we forged, whether it was, us becoming friends because of that, or the other people I got a chance to meet and you got a chance to meet over your time with the league. That's what made it special, and that's why I'm so excited to be part of it again.
Yeah, I think you summed it up quite well. And you mentioned before, I heard you talking with the last caller when he asked how the team was going to be made up, where the players coming from. And you mentioned, and I saw it in your initial article about you. Your hope is that whoever takes over the team as the head coach and the director of football ops is going to pick, 18 or whatever the number is, Long Island players,
yes,
Long Island-based players, and that sense of community. You mentioned it then, and you're exactly right. That's what the Arena Football League was like during the heyday when it was really perking. A lot of people, I'll just paint a quick picture for them. On an arena football game day, all right, the visiting team, look, you didn't have unlimited funds. Right. So sometimes
tell me about it. I'm learning that now. Yes.
But remember, Peter, when you go on the road, oftentimes you couldn't get the late checkout if you had an evening game. Right?
Right.
The hotel's like, nope, you guys are gone. It's out. We're turning it over. So they had to have things to do. And oftentimes teams would come right to the arena. And you'd be at the arena hours before kickoff, and guys would be be up in the stands, relaxing before the ball game. The cheerleaders would go through their routines early. And remember, we all wanted to get to Dallas because the Dallas Desperados cheerleading team was the last cuts for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Or we wanted to get to Dallas for the good steakhouses too.
Yeah, that as well. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, for what we're talking about. Yeah. So those guys would be in the stands, right? And they'd be there, and then the home team would show up. And oftentimes, both teams would be in the stands at the same time, kibitzing and sharing stories and catching up and the whole deal. But my favorite part always, Stanley Davis Jr. You remember Stanley?
Yep.
as a player and then a coach in the Arena Football League. For those who don't know, if you ever saw the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Stanley Davis Jr. played the role of Jefferson's brother.
Uh-huh.
And every time I was involved in a game where he was involved, I just remember being in the arena and you'd hear in the stands, Jefferson's brother. But the best part is, from those days, I have a connection with you, and I have a connection. There are people from the Arena Football League front office we still have connections with. I did a Super Bowl a few years ago, the international broadcast portion of it that I'm going to do again this year in Los Angeles. And after the game was over, we're leaving, and I ran into Commissioner David Baker.
Oh,
man, I've been in the league for so long. So I run into Commissioner Baker and his wife, and so you're catching up there. You run into people like you and I who broadcast the games, and we are all over the place. We are legion around the country. People who did arena football and are now doing other things. You run into people who worked in it. Pat Sperduto, the former head coach of Nashville Cats.
yes.
Won for another Super Bowl ring this week, as he's one of the top muckety mucks and player personnel for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And Matt Nagy, former Dragons quarterback who went to 3 Arena Bowls with 3 different teams.
Offensive coordinator, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles are representing, obviously, but at one point, the Philadelphia Soul was owned by John Bon Jovi, the great singer, and won an Arena League championship. And I believe Matt may have played for Philadelphia during his time frame. So we can just go on and on and on with all of this. But for those who just think of the Arena Football League as simply a niche league, I understand where you're coming from. If we sat down and told you the connections that continue to flourish today from the original Arena Football League, I think people would be in shock.
And just to put a kind of a bow tie on it, I would like nothing better than if you happen to be in the New York area in June, July, or August, I would love to have you out at the Coliseum for a game.
Oh, I would be honored to come. I'd be honored to attend and see it again. And in my eyes, I would see Aaron Garcia throwing. I'd see Steve Pappen catching and returning. I'd see John Gregory coaching. I'd see all those would flash in front of me during that time.
You're going to make me cry, Charles. You're going to make me try. You're going to make me cry.
Last but not least, I did our playoff game this year. We were lucky enough to have a playoff game. I and myself, Evan Washburn, and Derek Stingley made a couple big plays out on the corner, and I could see him. And we go to commercial, and I'm thinking about Derek Stingley's dad as an Arena Football League player. Obviously, his grandfather we knew as an NFL receiver, who unfortunately was Jack Tatum hit him, and
Yeah.
we know how that turned out. But anyway, all that being said, there's almost always a thread, and I think you probably saw it recently. We lost Eddie Kyatt,
Yeah.
who Nashville Cats. And by the way, Eddie Kyatt's a former head coach of the National Football League for the Philadelphia Eagles. So by the time people start thinking, what is this thing? You'd be surprised. There's a lot of football involved with it.
I'll just add that you mentioned John Gregory, and we recently lost him as well. And I learned so much about the game from him in the few years that I worked with him. And I bring it up only because that Kurt Warner movie came out a couple of years ago, and I was so upset. And I know sometimes these real life sports movies, they take some liberties with them, but I was so upset that they completely wrote his character out of the movie and made it seem like he had no part with Kurt Warner. He was the one who found Kurt Warner, not the owner, of the team back in Iowa. It was John Gregory who found Kurt Warner stocking shelves. I was very upset that they left him out of that movie.
It happens so often, as you mentioned, in movies. Just think about it this way. For years, and probably continues to be, I think Dan Devine, the former great coach at Missouri and Notre Dame and with the Green Bay Packers, his family has never been happy about the portrayal in Rudy.
Yeah.
Because they portrayed Coach Devine as the one shoving against the idea of Rudy actually getting on the field, when it was actually the opposite. Like he actually supported him, and it was his 1 year there with Rudy and what have you. And that film made it look like Dan Devine wanted no part of it.
Yeah.
And that really wasn't how it went down. And they were always hurt by that portrayal. So it does happen in movies. So every time you see based on a true story or, based on real life events, a lot of times, as you said, it can get a little elastic about what was real.
Yeah. It's a buyer beware when it's based on a true story. We're joined by Charles Davis from the NFL on CBS and also from NFL Network. We've talked a lot about arena football. Now let's get down to the real business this week at hand. That is Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans between the Chiefs and the Eagles. And you mentioned before you're going to have the international call of the game. I think a lot of the country, and I mentioned this on the open of the show, a lot of the country are having Chiefs fatigue, and there's a lot of people who don't like the Eagles. So there's a lot of football fans that are not enthralled with this matchup. Give everybody your reason to be excited about the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Because you're talking about these two outstanding franchises that are arguably the two best teams in the league that are left standing. Look, we can fight it out about how they both got there. Philadelphia got there a little bit on the quote-unquote easier side, if you want to call anything in the NFL easy. All right, they've kind of handled their games a little bit better, although they let Los Angeles run at them late. But Kansas City, look, when you win 17 straight one-score games, is there some luck involved? Obviously. But 17 straight isn't all luck. 17 straight tells me that you know how to handle tough situations, close game situations, late game situations. And they've done it, as you know, Peter, with Patrick Mahomes closing on one side and also Steve Spagnuolo's defense closing on the other. It's not been a one-way street, because the last time these two got together, we still saw Kansas City as an offense-first-led team, and Philadelphia provided fireworks in that game as well. But one of the biggest plays in the game that helped them win it was Nick Bolton taking the ball from Jalen Hurts and running it in for a touchdown on defense for Kansas City. That helped them in a big way in a very close, tight ball game. Obviously, if it gets down close and it's tight, Kansas City's very comfortable with that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Philadelphia wouldn't be. They just haven't played nearly as many. I think personally, Peter, this is a 4-down game, meaning Philadelphia with the ability to get the first down with their, brotherly show of play. Which,
tush push, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. Jalen Hurts called it a quarterback sneak the other night. However you want to phrase it. I've been on record from day one. I hate the play. I want it out of the game. It's neither here nor there. That plays in the game, and it's very effective for Philadelphia. So Peter, that in football, on defense, you talk about getting off the field on third down. Hey, can we win third down and force them to kick the ball? Well, winning third down for Kansas City is different in this game. It has to be you got to get them to fourth down and 3, 4, 5 before you're thinking about punting the ball. Because Philadelphia is aggressive. They will likely go for it. If you get it at 4th and 1, forget it. They're going for it. And they're starting a new set of downs. And you know what else that does? It restricts Steve Spagnuolo's blitzing, because that blitzing is a big part of what they do. But if you can't blitz on second and medium and third and short, that takes away that ability. That's what Philadelphia is looking to do. And last thing I'm going to say, people talk about fatigue. People got fatigued by the Yankees on their run.
No, I didn't. I'm a Yankee fan. I'd like to see the Yankees win every year. I don't care.
Let's talk about people in general, right? Everyone that you met. I'm sick of your Yankees, right?
I know.
When the Montreal Canadiens were riding roughshod in the NHL, sick of it. When the Islanders were taking,
I like that. That was fine with me. That was okay.
Again, you liked it.
Yeah.
You would hear it from everywhere. Pick your sport. Whoever the dominant team is, at a certain point they get there. In fact, I saw a cartoon the other day, because Kansas City catches a lot of grief about calls and getting calls. The cartoon was Tom Brady talking about how tough it was to win in the league and how much fun we're having, what we're doing. And behind him in the cartoon were 3 people in officials' uniforms holding up placards, and each one said go, the second one said Tom, and the third one said go, or said go Patriots go, or whatever. So those jokes come out all the time when you have a team who's in a dominant position, and that's where Kansas City is. But you know what else happens too, Peter? People watch hoping they get beat. This is the Howard Cosell syndrome.
Yeah.
Who's the most liked broadcaster during his run? Howard Cosell. Who's the most hated broadcaster?
Howard Cosell.
So what happened? Everyone tuned in. I feel like this is that type of a game. People want to see Kansas City get beat. Cool, I'm tuning in. People who love them, they're tuning in anyway. And the Philadelphia audience, as you know, is massive. I think this is going to be a big, big number. The so-called fans wanted something else, but I think this is going to do a huge number for the ratings.
A couple minutes left with my good friend Charles Davis from the NFL on CBS. He's going to have the international call of the Super Bowl on Sunday. He's also known for being on NFL Network as a massive draft expert, and I love talking to you about what's going to happen with the draft. And for our purposes here, I'd like to stick to the locals. Let me start with the Giants first, and they made the decision to stick with Joe Schoen as general manager, Brian Daboll as head coach. And when you see the season they've had, obviously they need a quarterback, but they also need a lot of other pieces too. How do you see the Giants offseason unfolding, and what do you think they target in the draft?
Well, they got to make a decision about what they do in their slot, right? They're number 3, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
In picking, does the quarterback kick in for them? Now, will the quarterback be there? Because sitting at 1 and 2, you're talking about Tennessee and Cleveland, and you could make a case both need to go get a quarterback. So if that's the case and they both decide to go, and the consensus top 2 are Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, depends on how you look at it. If those 2 go 1 and 2, that'll be interesting. Here's the other part, Peter. Both might go 1 and 2, but I don't know that they're rated as 1 and 2 in this draft in terms of players. This is a different draft than we had last year, where 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12, and it really wasn't much of an arched eyebrow when they all went. Here, it's going to be much more like, okay, I can see them going 1 and 2 because you're quarterback needy, but would they be rated as 1 and 2? That's going to be fun to watch as this process goes along. But if you're the Giants, you think to yourself, if I can't get the quarterback I want at 3, is there anyone who needs something, has to have something that can come up and get it? I'd be looking to trade out and accumulate some picks and some people, because it's that type of a draft this year, Peter. I don't think we have the superstars that got to have this player, got to have that player, got to have that player. Can I get multiples? And if so, Joe Schoen, I'm sure, would be open for business. I just don't know how much activity there will be towards getting that, because I don't know who you're coming up to get. Is it Travis Hunter? I'm not sure.
About the Jets now, and obviously they went in the direction of Aaron Glenn as the new head coach, and they're waiting on what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Will he want to come back? Do the Jets even want him back? And there are the Jets with a lot of holes to fill, obviously, in the draft. What are your thoughts on what's happened with the Jets here in the offseason so far?
Well, I like the move getting Aaron Glenn, of course, and the brand new general manager, although it was interesting because all you heard was they wanted an experienced general manager in the role, and they ended up getting a guy who's going to be a first-time one. Is it Darryl Maugi, I believe is how you pronounce it? Yeah, Darren Moogie, excuse me. First-time GM. Doesn't mean he won't be great. I always laugh when we do these press conferences and all, and we immediately decide who won the press conference and the whole deal. All I remember is Dan Campbell probably lost his press conference in a big way, and that worked out pretty well. I think Nick Sirianni lost his press conference in a big, big way, and he's going back to his second Super Bowl. So let's just be careful about the snap judgments and let them work their way through it. But the idea of quarterback again, the one thing I didn't say with the Giants that I will say with the Jets in tandem, both may shop in the offseason free agent pool. They both may be in that pool to go get a quarterback now and maybe grab somebody later on that you might think you can develop. That's going to be the fun part. And look, right up to the last couple of games of the season, people were going crazy about Sam Darnold. The weird part is, could either one of them pick up Sam Darnold and have him do New York again?
I still have that Sam Darnold jersey in the closet, so I can always dust that off.
And by the way, would Sam Darnold want to do New York again?
Yeah, that's true.
Teams more involved, that's what we're going to be talking about. Are there free agent quarterbacks with experience that can be your bridge guy that you would go get right now and play with until you can get a guy in there that you really want to play with?
Charles, I think you and I can talk all different kinds of football for hours, but we only had 15 or 20 minutes, and it's always sad when this time comes to an end, and I can't thank you enough. Best of luck this weekend with the international Super Bowl broadcast, and so happy to be a friend of yours and glad that it was forged in the Arena Football League. Thanks for joining me.
Right back at you on all of that, and yes, and don't forget, doing that international game, I get to stand next to my guy Ian Eagle one more time and do it. How fortunate am I?
That's an awesome comment. I wish we could watch that broadcast here in the United States.
Hey, listen, the broadcast, everybody's going to be tuned in for this one. We know why, that's for sure. But bottom line is, thank you for being a friend.
Yes.
Thank you for being a colleague, and all the best and continued success to you. And I can't wait for the day when you're able to draft your son.
Well, this league has no kicking, so he can't be a long snapper. You have to go back to playing center.
That's okay. He can play center.
Yeah, there you go. He's big enough, I think. Thanks, my buddy. Thanks. Charles Davis from the NFL on CBS and NFL Network. Always great catching up with him. When we come back, we're going to talk Super Bowl tickets and packages and what's going on in New Orleans. Vinny Tickets from ticketbash.com will join us when we come back right after this.
Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles is the best place to find autographed entertainment and sports memorabilia. We guarantee the authenticity of each and every item in our shop to provide you with quality collectibles anytime you browse our inventory. Our memorabilia includes autographed photos, sports equipment, jerseys, hats, and other paraphernalia from current athletes and legendary sports stars. If you prefer the entertainment industry, we have signed posters, albums, and photographs from classic movie stars and today's celebrities. To give back to our community, we participate in fundraising auctions for local charities. Call us today to request a specific autograph, find a special gift for someone else, or schedule an event. Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by ticketbash.com. And this portion of Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, 516-465-3990, the number to call. And Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. It is Super Bowl week in New Orleans. Super Bowl 59 on tap for the Superdome on Sunday between the Eagles and the Chiefs. So many questions about ticket prices, so many questions about the events and hotels and everything going on in New Orleans. And joining us from his lavish hotel in the French Quarter, we welcome in our good friend and the CEO of ticketbash.com, Vinny Tickets. Vinny, it's Peter. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Peter. Who said anything about lavish?
Everything you do is lavish.
Well, in this case, you use the assumption.
Yes. You know what happens when you assume.
Yes. It happened here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my bad on that. Set the scene for us there in New Orleans. I know you've been out and about town this week, and you had a chance to take in the sights and the sounds, and obviously some are nice sights, some were not so nice sights because of recent events. Tell us about your trip so far.
Yeah, so I have to say it's New Orleans, it's the French Quarter, and it's starting to bubble. That bubble is starting. The water is starting to boil. There's those little bubbles coming out of the water, and you can feel it starting to come. I could actually give everybody a view. There you go. Looks kind of quiet right now, but you can see down the street, right?
Yep.
It's kind of quiet. One thing I will say is that it is very, very militant. It's very militant. So the good side and the bad side. The good side is you're here for a celebration, of course. And the bad side is it's that constant reminder that that this is definitely a target area. They're taking it very serious down here. There's armed military forces on every corner with AK-47s.
Wow.
And it's not something that's like a passing sight. It's every single intersection is militant.
What you sent me a video. We're going to play it right now of a memorial that was set up as a result of the tragedy that took place in New Orleans not long ago. You had a chance to see that firsthand. I can't imagine what that feeling is like. We've seen memorials set up for other accidents and things like that, but you're there in New Orleans, boots on the ground, to see this firsthand. What was that like?
Yeah, it's an absolute heartbreaker. I mean, I happened to stumble across it. It wasn't like I was looking for it. I just happened to be walking through the French Quarter. I saw the memorial that they had put up, and I had to stop and just say a prayer for all of those people that were affected by it. And really, it's a dose of reality. So, you know, you have a dichotomy of two worlds colliding here. You know, it's a happy moment. It's a celebration. But at the same time, you look at something like that and you realize, puts everything in perspective. Yeah, it's great to be at a game, but, you know, that puts everything in perspective.
Let's talk about the game, and we're a few days out now. And you know, when we talked last week on the show, we had just found out what the matchup was going to be, the Chiefs and the Eagles, and you know, the early returns were in on where the market was going to be as far as tickets were concerned. Where's the market now as we speak on Tuesday, 5 days out from the game?
Yes, so right now, and whenever I give a price, Peter, one thing that kind of separates our company from everybody else out there is the get-in or the least expensive seat to go to the game right now is $4,200. That's all in pricing. So, you know, you may have people that say, well, I could get it for $39. Well, $39 on any website is really $47 or $4,800. When I give a price of $4,200, that's $4,200 per ticket, all in. No service fees, no convenience fees, and all you have to do is reach out to our office. We have a number of experienced coordinators standing by now. I think Danielle's in today, Jordan, Tay, Rose, just to name a few. They could call, they could text, they could email us. If you want to call or text the office and get a quote, all you have to do is reach out, call or text 631-250-6888. That's 631-250-6888.
We're looking at some other videos from around town that you shot. I think some are from hotels, and you know, some are from around the streets. When you think of New Orleans, you think of big parties, you think of the Super Bowl, and obviously with your packages, and you mentioned before, all inclusive. I mean, not only can you get people into the game, but you're going to get people into hotels, you're going to get people on airplanes, you're going to get people into some of the parties that are going around New Orleans, and that's the thing that Ticketbash.com offers that you might not be able to find in other places.
Yeah, the packages, the two parts of the package that we could still do are the hotels and the tickets. The airfare is getting kind of tricky now. I actually just had somebody, they said, wow, I can't believe how expensive it is. I said, you do realize the game's less than a week away.
Right.
I mean, you know, so the airfare is the part that's driving the price up. We do have some hotel rooms left right here in the French Quarter, where you can get them for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. Those hotels, all inclusive, are starting at $3,500 for the entire weekend. Whereas prior to this, they were starting at $2,000, $2,500 per night. And now we have a couple rooms remaining. You can stay in the French Quarter for all 4 nights for $3,500.
There you go, Ticketbash.com. And what's that number again that people can call if they want to get some more information?
Yes, that number would be 631-250-6888.
A couple of minutes left with Vinny Tickets from Ticketbash.com. I have to ask you, when you think about New Orleans too, some of the best food in the world is in New Orleans. Have you had any gumbo yet?
I have. I actually, not the gumbo. I had the jambalaya last night for dinner. I asked around and I asked people, where's it go? They said, oh, there's a place down the road And you go into this like little alley, and then it opens up, and there's like a jazz band playing in there, and I think it's one of the videos I sent
Yeah.
of me having my jambalaya and listening to some jazz.
I will have you back on Thursday to get your prediction on the game. But what would be the early figures in? I know usually the fans start piling in, from my experience with the Super Bowl, usually Thursday and Friday when most of the fans start trickling in. Is there an early indication at all as to numbers? Are there big numbers for Eagle fans so far as opposed to Chiefs fans? How is it looking this early in the week?
As for sales are coming in 2-1, Eagles over Chiefs.
Yeah.
As for the crowd right now, it's way too early to tell, but I'll make a prediction and say that the Eagles show up in force. Will be my prediction.
And they're hungry. They're hungry for a championship. Well, thank you. We'll have another update from you on Thursday. We'll get the latest on the ticket prices if people want to get to New Orleans at the last minute, and we'll also save the Vinny tickets game prediction for Thursday's show.
You got it, Peter. And Peter, congrats on the new gig. So
Yes.
proud of you. Yeah, I love that gig you have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm actually, as I've said in multiple places, I'm still grateful I get to keep this job too. So that was very important to me.
Have you.
So I don't know if I told you this part of that story. So when I was offered the job with the football team, and I said, well, it's very important for me that I'm still a radio guy, even though I'm a general manager of a football team. I'm still a radio, sports guy. So it's very important to me to keep WFAN and also Sports Bash. And I said, Sports Bash it's only down the road from my office at the Coliseum. It's a couple of hours, during the week. Can I still keep that? And they said, we'll just give you an extra long lunch hour. So you can thank the people with the league for allowing that to happen.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Awesome. We'll talk to you again on Thursday and try and stay out of trouble.
You got it. Have a great day, Tony. Have a great day, Peter.
All right, Vinny. Vinny Tickets, the CEO of TicketBash.com. They're on the boots on the ground in New Orleans at the Super Bowl, and for the Super Bowl that really most of America is quite nauseous talking about, the Chiefs and the Eagles. But listen, this may be for a lot of people, like if you really want to go to a Super Bowl, I have a hunch the prices might drop. Because as I mentioned before, the Eagles, a lot of people hate the Eagles, although the Eagle fans are going to want to go. But the Chiefs, their fans may be a little fatigued. How much money do they have left in the bank to go to more Super Bowls? I think you might get a good deal on tickets. So stick with TicketBash.com the rest of the week and see if you can get a great deal to get to the Superdome and the Super Bowl on Sunday. Before I get to the poll question of the day, Islanders and the Golden Knights in Vegas tonight. I'll actually be at the game this evening. And the Islanders' 7-game winning streak came to an end on Sunday in Florida. I hope that the 7-game winning streak didn't camouflage the issues that the Islanders are still having. And those issues are, first of all, the injuries are mounting because Matt Barzal is out indefinitely. Scott Mayfield is out. They got hurt on Saturday in Tampa. The Islanders are like a MASH unit walking around. But more importantly than that, the Islanders have unrestricted free agents in Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri. And if you're an Islanders fan, obviously you're excited about the 7-game winning streak. You want to see it continue. Here's what I would say about that. And look, you go to a game, you invest your time watching a game. Not that I can watch the games on TV at home because I live in an optimum world, but we figure out a way to get it done. If the Islanders make their way into the playoffs, are they legitimate contenders for the Stanley Cup? And you will not find a bigger Islander fan than me, and I think that's been documented on the show. The Islanders are not winning the Stanley Cup this year. And listen, people might not want to hear it. They're not winning the Stanley Cup next year either. At least I don't think so. I would hate to see the Islanders lose Kyle Palmieri and to a bigger extent Brock Nelson for nothing at the end of the season. Now, it would be great if Brock Nelson never put on another NHL jersey in his career. Kyle Palmieri was acquired a few years ago during one of the playoff runs that season. So if you traded him, granted, I like him, and I think he's become a fan favorite. I think it'll be easier to see him go. Brock Nelson will be very, very tough to see Brock Nelson put on another Islander jersey. But chances are he's leaving at the end of the season anyway as an unrestricted free agent. Now, he's a future Islanders Hall of Famer. He will be one of the all-time great Islanders when all is said and done. He'll be in the Islanders Hall of Fame, no question about it. I think if you're a Lou Lamoriello, you really do, even in this run of success recently, I think you have to start thinking about the future. And you've got the Four Nations face-off coming up. Brock Nelson is on Team USA. The last thing you would want to do is have plans on trading Brock Nelson and have him get hurt in the Four Nations face-off. So if there's teams that are interested in him, now might be the time to strike as far as a trade. But I do think the Islanders have to now start looking long-term down the road. They'll get a boatload in return from Brock Nelson. They'll get a first-round pick. They'll get existing players. They'll get prospects. They could get a great package for Brock Nelson right now because he is definitely somebody that can help a team that's got a chance to win the Stanley Cup. So as hard as it would be to see him wearing another jersey, I think it's in the Islanders' best interest right now to really look into trading him and start the platform for what's to come in the future. We'll see if that winds up happening, and we'll see if the Islanders get back to their winning ways tonight after losing in Florida on Sunday. It is time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It's presented by Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles in Rockville Center, Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia since 1996. They're also available for charity auctions. Give Warren a call at 516-826-4000. Before we get to the item of the week, here is the question. St. John's fans, how far can St. John's go this season? They've been unbelievable, St. John's, so far. Can they reach the NCAA tournament? Can they reach the Sweet 16? Can they reach the Elite 8? Or can they reach the Final Four? Go to the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page to vote on that. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday here on the program. The item of the week. Look at this beauty. I said it before, it was a knockout. That was a tease. It's an 11x14 signed photo of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. 516-826-4000. Number to call Warren Heller at Living Legends and find out how you can get that beautiful signed photo from Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Let me tell you about what's going to happen on the show a week from today, our latest installment of FOP, Friends of Peter. It's going to be John and Mark Cronin from John's Crazy Socks. They are going to be in with us the entire hour a week from today. It's going to be great. They just got a great deal with the Professional Bowlers Tour, PBA socks. Maybe we can get Sports Bash socks. What do you think?
That's a great idea.
We're going to talk to them. Maybe we can get socks made up with Sports Bash on it. That would be great. Now, for me to wear it, they'd have to probably sew like 5 different pairs of socks together to fit on my size 14 wide feet. But I know at the very least, we would love to see maybe some Sports Bash socks. We'll see what surprises that we have in store a week from today. This Thursday, we'll continue to get you ready for Super Bowl 59, working on a few other guests. We'll let you know about that. And we do know that a week from today, we're going to have John's Crazy Socks, Mark and John Cronin in for FOP. Coming up on Thursday's show as well, we'll play Stump the Wiz, and we'll check out This Week in Sports History. Wiz last week got off the schneid.
Thank goodness.
Finally got the answer right last week. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, Tony, right? That he
It was at least 3.
and he was losing sleep. Did you see the look on his face? When we told him that there were 9 parts to the question, and how many times how many of those questions were. So we still need a question for this Thursday. So if you want to submit your question, DM us on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter or any of the other Sports Bash Media outlets, because we've gotten, quite frankly, and I love Glenn from Flushing, but he's a very frequent submitter. We've had some others sparingly, but get your questions in. So if we pick your question and you stump the Wiz, you get a great prize. And who doesn't like free stuff? I mean, I get destroyed on Boomer and Gio all the time for getting free stuff, and they get as much free stuff as anybody.
You're
right?
on Boomer and Gio?
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. That reminds me. I meant to say that.
I know a guy, Peter.
Yes. So one of the things about being the general manager of a football team or any sports franchise, as soon as you get the job, you get inundated with emails and texts and messages from all these people. Either you knew in the past or different people that just want to reach out. I'd like to be a part of the team, whatever. So I'm not going to mention the person's name, but last week I get an email from somebody who wants to be a PR director for our team. Now, right now, I'm wearing a lot of hats as the GM. I'm also doing ticket sales. I'm doing corporate partnerships. But I'm also doing PR. If we have an announcement, I'm making it. We just hired a wonderful young lady from Hofstra, Amadi, who is our social media intern, and she's doing a lot of content for us. So we have that. But I'm handling a lot of the PR until I can hire somebody. So this guy writes to me and says, I'd like to be your PR person. I can introduce you to a lot of people in the New York football market and the New York football community. And I read that and I started chuckling a little bit because I'm like, should somebody want to tell him? Like, I've worked in the sports media in New York for 35 years. I know a lot. Like, he's ripping off names of who he wants to introduce me to. And I'm like, I think to myself, I've had dinner with a lot of these people before. I've been to Super Bowls with a lot of these people before. So, does this guy not get the memo? Now, today, and I said, send me your resume and I'll see. I have a feeling that this guy might be out of our budget anyway. Today, again, right, following up with you, I think you really need to have me on board. I'd like to introduce you to Boomer Esiason, and I'd like to try to get you on Boomer's show to talk about this league. I almost fell out of my chair when I read that. Do I want this guy to be the PR director for my football team? Are you under a rock? You want to introduce me to Boomer Esiason? Do you listen to Boomer and Gio? I mean, come on. Tony, help me out here.
Yeah, do not hire this man.
He wants to introduce me to Boomer Esiason.
See, now that's me. I would take him up on it and say, yes, please introduce me, please.
And then when Boomer comes up and says, Peter, how you doing? Gives me a big hug, right?
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's unbelievable, right? I mean, there have been other ones. Like, you'd be surprised. I get some really nice ones, like kids who are in college or looking for their first job and looking for internships. Really, really nice, respectful. Fine. Oh, then there was another clown. I told you about this.
Yes.
I was not doing any interviews for, first round interviews all over the phone for any job. And this guy writes to me, he demands to see me in person. And I said, I'll talk to you on the phone. No, I want to meet you in person. No, when you tell me when you can talk to me on the phone, and now he starts Googling my number. He's calling this person, that person, trying to get to me. I'm like, that's not the way you do business here.
That's right.
Harassing family members who he may have numbers of, So I blocked him. Then he sends me an email saying, you have the nerve to block me. Like, I can help you. You can help me by leaving me alone. That's how you can help me.
That's right.
And I'm so glad that Tony reminded me to go on this soliloquy here at the end of the show. Sports Bash is presented by TicketBash.com. Ryan Anthony's Heating Service. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Living Legends Memorabilia, by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thanks to my guests on the show, Charles Davis and Vinny Tickets. Thanks to Tony Walker, everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. For our entire crew, this is Peter Schwartz. Thank you for watching. Sports Bash returns Thursday at 1 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone, except for the two people I just talked about. Have a good day.